In part 3, we're going to focus our full attention solely upon the blessing itself. And we're going to go through the scriptures and trace it from Adam to Christ and prove something that should be well understood by anyone who ever studied the Bible through unbiased eyes. And that is that Joseph was in fact the birthright son and the true inheritor of the divine blessing. Now, as we embark on this journey of discovery and revelation, we find ourselves in the Garden of Eden. The story of Adam and Eve laid the groundwork for the central theme and primary biblical message, and that is the fall and the redemption of man. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Most High had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, had the Most High said, You shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High had said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die. For the Most High doeth know that in the day that you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. In this allegorical masterpiece, the voice of the Most High symbolized the spiritual mind or the higher consciousness of man, and the serpent represent man's lower nature, the reptilian brain or the carnal mind. Now Adam is the representation of physical man, and Eve, as the feminine principle, represent the spirit of life or the soul. Together they make up the dualistic essence of man as both body and soul, physical and mental. When the man and woman found themselves in the dilemma of choosing between the voice of the Most High and the serpent, that was an allegory to demonstrate man's struggle to either follow his lower nature or his higher spiritual mind. Eve, as the mental aspect of the soul, is operating as man's logic and reasoning, which is how she was able to convince Adam to follow his lower nature. Whenever man ceases to be led by his higher conscious mind and allows himself to be guided by his lower nature and the lust of his flesh, then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bring forth death. Spiritual death is the cause of fallen humanity. Man must now rediscover the evolutionary ladder and ascend his way back to his true divine self. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed, and it shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. The seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent is allegorically presented to us throughout the biblical narrative through the recurring motif of two sons. The oldest son will always represent the seed of the serpent, and he will always persecute the youngest. The struggle between the two is an allegory to show the struggle between the spirit and the flesh. The youngest of the two is the seed of the woman. He's always the chosen seed. The youngest is always preferred above the oldest to express the thought that the first will be last and the last will be first. Now, the seed of the woman is widely accepted by theologians and Bible scholars to be prophetically pointing to the coming of a future Messiah, one who would not only defeat the serpent, but also redeem humanity from the grave of spiritual death by teaching the way and the truth that leads to life. The pathway leading to this Messiah is paved by a sacred lineage, not to be reckoned through the patriarchal line, but the divine genealogy of mother and son. We began tracing the seed of the woman through the line of Seth, and after the flood, it was preserved through Noah and his son Shem. And so we're going to pick the story up with Abraham and Sarah. And when Abram was 99 years old, the Most High appeared unto Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty Power, walk before me and be you perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and you, and will multiply you exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and the Most High talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. Neither shall your name be any more called Abram, but your name shall be called Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made you. and I will make you exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of you, and kings shall come out of you. Fruitfulness will become a common theme with every son who would inherit this blessing, and every mother chosen to bring forth this chosen seed will follow the theme of a barren woman. Now, the barren woman is one who can't conceive children, at least not in the natural way. If she conceives, it's always by supernatural means, which makes her son special. The barren woman goes back to Genesis 3:16, where it said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow in your conception. In sorrow shall you bring forth children. Conception is the ability to conceive a pregnancy. So every woman who will bear the mark of Eve will be barren, but they were always blessed to give birth to a special child through a promise. Sarah was barren and couldn't have children, but she was blessed to bring forth Isaac in her old age. And the Most High said, Sarah your wife shall bear you a son indeed, and you shall call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And the Most High said unto Abraham, Let it not be grievous in your sight because of the lad, and because of your bondwoman. And all that Sarah had said unto you, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall your seed be called. So the blessing of Abraham was passed down to Isaac. And Isaac went on to marry a woman by the name of Rebekah. And just like Sarah, she was also barren. And Isaac entreated the Most High for his wife, because she was barren. And the Most High was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Most High. Rebekah was blessed to give birth to a set of twins, Esau and Jacob. The two sons of Rebekah represent the dualistic nature of man, the physical and the spiritual. The internal struggle symbolized the war between the spirit and the flesh, and also the enmity between the serpent seed and the seed of the woman. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Jacob is often portrayed as a deceiver or a usurper for stealing his brother's birthright, but it was actually his mother who orchestrated the whole thing. Rebekah, as the spirit of wisdom, guided Jacob through the process of receiving his birthright. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go down to the flock and fetch from me thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for your father, such as he loveth. And you shall bring it to your father that he may eat, and that he may bless you before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be your curse, my son. Only obey my voice and go fetch me them. Jacob would go on to receive the birthright from Isaac, and besides the birthright, he would also receive a blessing from the angel at Penuel. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of day. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let you go, except you bless me. And he said unto him, What is your name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Your name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince have you power with the Most High, and with men, and have prevailed. The name Israel is tied to this blessing, so whichever one of Jacob's sons would inherit the birthright will also inherit the spiritual blessing in the name Israel. Rebekah had a brother named Laban, who also had 2 daughters, named Rachel and Leah. Jacob agreed to work 7 years for Laban in exchange for his daughter Rachel's hand in marriage. After the 7 years, Laban threw a feast, and instead of Rachel, he sent Leah into Jacob's tent, and Jacob was deceived into laying with Leah instead of Rachel. When Laban was confronted for his deceptive tactics, he said, "It must not be so done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn." So Leah became Jacob's wife according to tradition and law. Leah is a play on the law. She is a symbolic archetype for the traditions and laws of the forefathers. She had to be given first as an allegory to foreshadow the physical law or the old covenant that was given to Israel first. After working for Laban 7 more years, Jacob finally received Rachel's hand in marriage. But it turns out that she was also barren. And when the Most High saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. The story of Leah and Rachel served the same purpose as the story of Hagar and Sarah. Both are allegories created to illustrate the two covenants. Leah represents the old law, and her children represent the first dispensation of the house of Jacob, born under the old covenant. Leah gave birth to 7 children, out of which came Judah and Levi, the priests and the kings. Leah and her sons were given a time frame to rule in Israel. The law, the priesthood, and the kings were only temporary until the arrival of the promised seed, the one who Jacob referred to in Genesis 49 as Shiloh. Now, if we keep in line with the common theme of the barren woman giving birth to the chosen son, then that would mean that Joseph is the chosen seed. And the Most High remembered Rachel, and the Most High hearkened to her and opened her womb. And she conceived and bare a son, and said, "The Most High had taken away my reproach." And she called his name Joseph, and said, "The Most High shall add to me another son." Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. The coat of many colors represent the rainbow. The rainbow was a token or a sign that confirmed the covenant of salvation and mercy made between the Most High and his creation after the flood. Joseph now wears the rainbow to symbolically show that through him salvation and mercy will be shown. Joseph was born to be the Messiah and Savior of his family. He was anointed with the gift of prophecy and the ability to interpret dreams. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, "Hear, I pray thee, the dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheaf." And his brethren said unto him, "Shall you indeed reign over us? Or shall you indeed have dominion over us?" And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, "Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me." And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him and said unto him, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall I and your mother and your brethren indeed come and bow down ourselves to you to the earth?" And his brothers envied him, but his father observed the saying. Joseph's brothers envied him, hated him, and conspired to take his life. He was later sold into slavery at the request of Judah and was taken into Egypt by the Ishmaelites. What Joseph's brothers meant for evil turned out to be the hand of the Most High, working out a plan of salvation for their good. And Joseph would fulfill his prophetic role as a Messiah. And Joseph said unto his brethren, "Come near to me, I pray you." And they came near. And he said, "I am Joseph your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Now therefore be not grieved nor angry with yourselves, that you sold me here. For the Most High did send me here before you to preserve your life. And the Most High sent me before you to preserve your posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. Haste ye, and go up to my father, and say unto him, Thus saith your son Joseph, the Most High hath made me Lord over all Egypt. Come down unto me, and tarry not." And it came to pass after these things, That one told Joseph, "Behold, your father is sick." And he took with him his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And one told Jacob and said, "Behold, your son Joseph cometh unto thee." And Israel strengthened himself and sat upon his bed. And Jacob said unto Joseph, "The Most High appeared unto me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me. And he said unto me, Behold, I will make thee fruitful and multiply thee, and I will make of thee a multitude of people, and will give this land to your seed after you for an everlasting possession. And now your 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto you in the land of Egypt, before I came unto you in Egypt, are mine, as Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine." Reuben and Simeon were the first and second born sons of Jacob, who lost the privilege of receiving the birthright blessing for reasons outlined in Genesis 49. Jacob is now replacing Reuben and Simeon as first and second born, with Ephraim and Manasseh. Now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for he was the firstborn, but forasmuch as he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given unto the sons of Joseph, the son of Israel. And the genealogy is not to be reckoned after the birthright. For Judah prevailed above his brethren, and of him came the chief ruler, but the birthright was Joseph's. And Israel stretched out his hand and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hands wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, "The Most High before whom my father Abraham and Isaac did walk, the power which fed me all my life long unto this day, the angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named unto them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth." And he blessed them that day, saying, "In thee shall Israel bless," saying, "May the Most High make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh." And he said Ephraim before Manasseh. Adam and Eve were blessed to be fruitful and multiply. When the Most High established his covenant with Noah and his sons after the flood, they were also blessed to be fruitful and multiply. When the covenant was made with Abraham, he was promised to be the father of many nations, and that his seed would multiply as the stars of heaven. Isaac inherited the same exact blessing from his father, and Jacob was also blessed to be fruitful and multiply. And now the blessing has fallen upon Joseph by way of his son Ephraim, whose name literally means fruitful. Not only did Joseph inherit the birthright of Israel, he also received a double portion, which was the birthright and the blessing. The same blessing that was attached to the name Israel now belongs to the tribe of Ephraim, which is why the name Ephraim is prophetically changed to Israel. And this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of the Most High, blessed the children of Israel before his death. And of Joseph he said, "Blessed of the Most High be his land, for the precious things of heaven, for the dew, and for the deep that coucheth beneath, and for the precious fruits brought forth by the sun, and for the precious things put forth by the moon, and for the chief things of the ancient mountains, and for the precious things of the lasting hills, and for the precious things of the earth, and fullness thereof, and for the goodwill of him that dwelleth in the bush. Let the blessing come upon the head of Joseph, and upon the top of the head of him that was separated from his brethren. His glory is like the firstling of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of unicorns. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth, and they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh. The evidence is irrefutable, and the truth is undeniable. The Bible is perfectly clear about which one of Jacob's sons inherited the birthright blessing. As the author of 1 Chronicles so eloquently put it, out of Judah came the chief leader, but the birthright belonged to Joseph. And when it was time for Judah to receive his blessing from Jacob, his father said that he would be the one whom his brothers would praise, and he gave Judah the scepter. But the birthright that Joseph inherited was the blessing passed down from Abraham. It was all of the blessings, the promises, and the covenants, and the Messiah. And with his double portion, he inherited the name Israel. So if the blessing was passed down from Abraham to Isaac, and from Isaac it was given to Jacob and Joseph, then the next chosen son would have to come from the line of Joseph, unless the rules somehow changed, and the birthright no longer held prominence. If the line of Judah would produce the Christ, then what was the birthright and the blessing passed down from Abraham to Joseph all about? In order for anyone to inherit the blessing of Abraham, they would have to come through the line of the one who held the blessing, and that was Joseph. Now the line of Judah brought forth kings, but the line of Joseph produced messiahs. And when it was time for another great messiah figure to be born in Israel, he didn't come through the line of Judah. He came through the house of Joseph, a man by the name of Yahshua, the son of Nun. Now, ironically, the blessing finds its way into the house of a man by the name of Joseph. And the one who will be receiving the blessing name is Yahshua. Joseph and Yahshua are the names of the two greatest messiahs in Israel's history. And now the conception of Christ follows the same pattern as the conception of every chosen seed before him. His mother wasn't barren, but she still conceived a child through divine intervention. And she also suffered sorrow in her conception when her husband was prepared to put her away because of this mysterious pregnancy. Now Mary also carried all the marks of the divine mothers who gave birth to the chosen sons. And Yahshua, the Messiah, also bare all the marks and the traits of the seed of the woman. In the New Testament, we're given two genealogies for Christ, one going back to Abraham and one going back to Adam. This was done to show you that in him, both the promises of Adam and the promises of Abraham are fulfilled. He crushed the head of the serpent by conquering the mind of the flesh, and his doctrine will be used to elevate the sons of Adam from the grave of spiritual death back to the Garden of Eden. And as the seed of Abraham, he would establish a new covenant that would adopt different peoples, nations, and tongues, and his doctrine will become salvation to the ends of the earth. As for the birthright, it belongs to Joseph. And if this birthright blessing didn't ultimately manifest into the Christ, what was the purpose of carefully passing it down from Abraham to Isaac? And why put so much emphasis on a birthright that would later become irrelevant? If the birthright would eventually be given to Judah, why would it even be passed down to Joseph in the first place? Now, the world may not be prepared to challenge the status quo on this topic. The truth is, the Bible does teach that Christ was the son of David, and to speak otherwise is to go against what's taught in Scripture. But the Bible also raises doubt about Christ being the son of David, and that doubt was raised by Christ himself. Now, you may not see this as a conspiracy against Joseph and a deliberate attempt to usurp the birthright of Israel. But for those with eyes to see and the spirit to discern the truth from the lie, it's plain to see that Joseph and Christ are one and the same, and the house of Joseph is the true birthright tribe of Israel.